Recorded Books and RB Digital present The Art of Death, Writing the Final Story by Edwidge Danticat. Narrated by the author.
From the English Patient by Michael Ondaatje. We die, containing a richness of lovers and tribes, tastes we have swallowed, bodies we have plunged into and swum up as if rivers of wisdom, characters we have climbed into as if trees, fears we have hidden in as if caves. I wish for all this to be marked on my body when I am dead. I believe in such cartography, to be marked by nature, not just to label ourselves on a map like the names of rich men and women on buildings. We are communal histories, communal books. Introduction. Writing Life. My mother once gave her factory forewoman my first novel for Christmas. I see her reading the newspaper all the time, my mother said before leaving for work one December morning when I was 25. I'd like to give her your book. I spent the day pondering an appropriate dedication for a woman I'd never know, except through a few details my mother had mentioned. Mary was Chinese, short, and patient. Finally, I scribbled, "To Mary, Merry Christmas. Thank you so much for being nice to my mom." My mother asked me the best way to tell Mary, in English, "C'est petite fille qui écrit livre ça." My daughter wrote this book. My mother and I practiced this sentence in English many times together. My daughter wrote this book. My daughter wrote this book. I imagined this daughter as a child my mother and I shared, our common dream offspring, whom I called Sophie, after the tormented narrator of Breath Eyes Memory, my first novel. Mary never said anything to my mother about my novel after my mother gave it to her. Maybe Mary didn't like fiction, hadn't enjoyed the book, or perhaps my mother's gift had puzzled her. Maybe Mary hadn't been able to decode my mother's message in giving her the book. This is not all there is to me. Beyond the walls of this factory, I have a much bigger life. I have children, and they've done wonderful things. One writes books. When my mother was diagnosed with stage 4 ovarian cancer in early 2014, every time we'd go see a doctor more than once, she would ask me to give that doctor one of my books. She underestimated how embarrassing it was for me to seem to be bribing someone with something that was precious to me, but that they might consider worthless. I would tell her I'd do it, then we'd quickly move on to the next doctor, and the one after that, each of whom would bring us more and more dire news, until my mother no longer considered them worthy of any gifts at all. The one doctor she insisted on, aside from my friend Rose May, who had become her primary physician and already had my books, was her oncologist, Dr. Blyden. One day, while I was drilling Dr. Blyden with my internet research-inspired questions, he asked me what I do for a living. I told him I am a writer. My mother wanted me to give Dr. Blyden a copy of my 2007 memoir, Brother, I'm Dying, in which I describe, among other things, my mother's early years with my father, who had died of pulmonary fibrosis in May 2005. Instead, I gave him my most recent novel, Claire of the Sea Light. My mother smiled as I handed Dr. Blyden the book. She even smiled at Dr. Blyden's 2 observing medical students. As he walked out of the room, Dr. Blyden looked back at my mother, and I imagined him seeing her in a slightly different light. Until then, I hadn't quite understood the power of a moment like this, a moment where your apparent value suddenly rises in the eyes of someone else, especially a person who has your life in his hands. During subsequent visits, though, Dr. Blyden never mentioned the book. The last time my mother and I were in Dr. Blyden's office, we told him that my mother had decided to stop chemotherapy and let nature take its course.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?